Today we're taking a look at the SJCAM C300. It is an action camera that is capable of some pretty cool stuff like this. Honestly, that might be worth the price of admission for me. I've never been able to see my fish quite like that before. Let's look at the Amazon listing here very quickly before we dig in too much deeper. Like I said, SJCAM C300 right now, it is on sale. Regular price is $299, which I must admit is probably a little bit steep for me, but right now, $159.98 with another $20 coupon. I can't promise you that's going to be there when you're watching this video. Hopefully all that stuff is in place, but at any rate, $159, another $20 off. We're in a pretty darn good place. It is shooting 4K 30 FPS with a 20 megapixel camera. It is 6-axis stabilized. It has a Wi-Fi connectivity, so you can connect it to your phone and see things live in action. Again, we're going to show this stuff as well. 30-meter waterproof. It's got that waterproofing case you saw me put it into. Tons of other accessories we're going to show here in a minute as well. As you can see, the camera is quite small. There is a touch screen and a single button on that camera, but there's also this accessory, this grip, this battery pack that you can snap the thing into. It's going to extend the battery a ton. I believe the camera itself is a 1,000 milliamp hour battery, and this grip gives you another 2,800, so that's going to really extend your battery. Also gives you another screen that points towards you so that you can actually point the camera out into the world and film like that. Very, very handy little accessory that comes in the box. So let's start things off by taking a little bit of a closer look at the camera. Like I mentioned, there is a single button up front, and then there is a touch screen there as well. Camera obviously front and center, and that's really about it as far as the device. I believe this is a little area for a loop so that you could use like a lanyard or something like that. Of course, the battery is removable. You press this button and off it comes. That is also where your SD card is going to live. But with that 1,000 milliamp hour battery removed, you also then have the ability to use this thing, which has an additional 2,800 milliamp hours, and it is very, very simple to install. You just do that and you are installed. And from there, now you have the ability, like I said earlier, to face it away from you, but still be able to see what's going on and to film the world around you. You do also have the little threaded thing down here to put this onto a tripod or something like that. Of course, additionally, there are a ton of accessories with this thing, and a lot of them actually come in the box. As you can see here, camera, battery, waterproof case, frame mount, base back clip, and the lanyard, as well as a base mount, 2 curve and flat mounts, the screw, some adhesive stickers, USB cable, and a cloth. There's so much stuff in this box. So this is pretty much everything it came with. There's one I'm gonna have to step outside to show you, but this is the clip mount, which allows you to, just like you would expect, clip it to whatever and use it like that. We have another mount here that can be attached to this sort of thing here. There's adhesive that sticks to it, and there's another piece that it slides in and allows you to mount it to whatever. I'll show you that here in just a second. It's what I'm using to mount it to my bicycle. And then of course we have the lanyard, but there are some other options that don't come in the box that they did send out to me that I think are really, really cool. So there's this guy here that allows the camera to just slide in place, and it comes with this necklace. So you put this on underneath your shirt, and then it clips onto it magnetically over your shirt. So this is inside your shirt, this is outside your shirt, boom, it's on there, and you're just sort of wearing it on the front of your chest. I think that is a really, really smart design. Very, very useful. Of course, there's that waterproof case that you saw in action earlier. They also sent me this selfie stick, which twists and extends to a pretty decent height. Very useful in particular for sticking this thing down into a pond. And here's the other mount that I mentioned that I have on my bicycle. All of this stuff comes with it. It's super easy to pop the thing in there, mount it in place, and you're off and rolling. All right, so let's power the thing up, and we'll take a quick look at the operating system and how this thing functions. Maybe I can zoom in here. Yeah, make this thing look a little bit better. So like I said, it is a touch screen. There's home, this little magic wand button down here, which lets you go in and change your resolution, which I've left it at 4K 30. I think that's just a good place to be. So everything you see filmed from this in this video, 4K 30, H.264. Loop recording is turned off. but it is turned on by default. What that's going to do is it's going to film in 3-minute chunks. You can have that on if you like that. Personally, I did not. Vertical video, motion detection, pre-record, delay record. There's a ton of different options on here for different things you can do. You can even tweak the sharpness and the saturation if you want to see that stuff pumped up even further. Lots of really nice settings here. And in the settings option, pretty standard stuff. You can do things like changing the LCD's brightness, which you might want to pump this thing up if you're using it outside a lot. I do think overall the touchscreen is just okay. I do have difficulty sometimes getting it to respond. Voice broadcast might be a good one for you if you want to make sure that you know that you're filming at times. I'm not going to dig super deeply into those settings because it is a little bit on the boring side. If you have a question about something specific, let me know and I'll try to answer it. If you swipe down from the top though, there you go. You get your options here for the remote, for Wi-Fi, LCD off, and I believe this is where, yes, you get into the playback area as well. If you want to connect this thing to your phone, that is done by clicking on this Wi-Fi option here. A QR code pops up, and that is what you use to actually do that connection, actually start using your phone with it. I'll probably grab the phone and we'll take a look at that real quick. All right, so we've got the SJCAM app. We're gonna swipe down here, go to Wi-Fi, hit connect the camera, scan QR code. Should be able to scan that very, very quickly, and it should do basically a Wi-Fi direct connection to the camera. You'll see how long this takes here in just a moment. There's a little bit of a delay in getting this to work, and sometimes it's been a little bit finicky for me. Sometimes I have it fail, sometimes it's a little laggy, and I have to disconnect and reconnect again. Hopefully this works relatively well the first time, but it looks like maybe not. Yeah, we got a connection failed. So what we're gonna try to do here is we're going to restart the camera, which is done simply by holding down the only button that there is to shut it down. Fully close out of the app. We're going to open it back up again, and we're going to start fresh from both sides and see what we can do. Wi-Fi, let's get our QR code again. We're going to scan again. I'm not pressing that button, by the way. I'm just blocking it because it flashes, and I don't know why that would be a thing, and it's annoying. We're going to try the manual connection option because scanning the QR code just is not working for me this time. So we're going to try doing it this way and see if that works. There is the connection popping up. It thinks that we have connected. So we're going to go back and hit connect to the camera. Okay, we are now functioning. So you can see here what kind of latency we're dealing with. There's definitely a little bit of a delay, but you can see there's lots of cool options that we have here. So you can change the resolution and the frame rate. As you can see there, we can go into our photos and videos that are actually on the camera. We can play them back. We can hit record, go to photography. We can change between video time-lapse, slow motion, video plus photo. I've just scrolled super duper far in accident. Car mode, vertical screen. There's all sorts of different options that you can use on here. As you can see, it seems like when you scroll past it, a lot of the time it just kind of stops you on one particular thing. So it kind of makes it hard to go through your options all that quickly. Just want to get back to video. There we go. You can also jump into your settings, which you can see lots of different things you can change there. A lot of the same things you can change on the camera itself. You can change from inside your phone, which might be an easier way to get through these. Maybe I can just kind of scroll through these so you can see what sort of options we have. And most of these things are set to how they come by default. I do need to mention this ring accessory. This thing can be mounted onto whatever. Maybe it's on the handlebar of your bike or something like that. And from there, this can be used to control the camera. It's actually really, really useful. So what you do is you swipe down on the screen once again, if I can get this to work, and there is the remote button. And you can go into pairing mode, which I believe you're supposed to hold these two buttons. Pair is complete, and you're off and running, guys. So at that point, we can go back to the home screen, and if we want to take a photo, boom, there we go. We took a photo. This is a potentially very, very useful accessory. Now, as a reminder, this is not one of the many accessories that comes in the box. This is something you got to buy separately. I'll drop a link to their official website for their accessories in the description. Battery life on this thing is quoted to be right around 6 hours maximum if you're using not just the little battery, but then also plugging in the big battery. That means you're going to get somewhere around 2 hours. give or take probably less than 2 hours if you're using just the little camera and the battery that comes with that. Like I said, extend it maybe another 4 hours or so by plugging it into that larger battery bank. This seems reasonable to me. So as someone who primarily, when I'm out and about, films things with modern smartphones, how does the video quality look to me? Obviously, we can't say that the video quality is going to be as good as something like an S23 Ultra or a Pixel or something like that. But these devices are also much, much larger. They are a phone. This is much smaller, easier to just put wherever you need it. So the video quality doesn't have to be quite as good. And I would say that by and large, the video quality is pretty solid. Even mounting it to my bicycle and riding down some bumpy paths, it does a pretty good job of staying stable enough to be able to be watchable. I do think that there are times when bright areas get pretty darn blown out. It does do a decent job in lower light areas, even if it does get a little bit grainy. That's going to be really, really hard not to have happen with a camera of that size. Probably not the best looking tiny little action camera in the world, but it's also going to be a lot less expensive than a lot of those cameras, in particular right now where the thing is less than $150. Again, video quality to me seems to be fairly decent. Now the audio quality, the microphone, I think is fairly weak as far as I'm concerned. It's not something that if I'm like filming something myself, I'm going to feel super happy with that audio quality. It does seem to be a little bit underwhelming. It's not terrible. It's definitely not the best. We'll take a look at some more samples here. Of course, this thing is capable of taking still photos. So obviously this is a wide angle type device. So the pictures you're going to be taking are on the verge of being like a fisheye look. They're very, very distorted on the sides. The details, I mean, it's okay. I think you're probably going to be better off using the wide angle lens on the smartphone that you probably have in your pocket. But in a pinch, you could do this. It's a little bit washed out in terms of colors. I will admit that I got way too close to this water hyacinth. I didn't realize how far away I needed to be in focus. Good example of that there. Here is the crepe myrtle also in the backyard. Again, colors are fairly washed out. Not the best photos I've ever seen. And then inside with a little bit of movement, definitely getting some blur. Not something I'm really going to use this thing for. Going on our morning walk here. Let's track it with the old Fibbit. Grab my hat. Well, yeah, there it is.
Now we went the long way. We're gonna go the long way today.
Like down the alley?
Yep.
Look at this. Look at this semi. They drove underneath something that was too short.
Oh my god. Oh,
you think somebody lost? You think somebody lost their job for that one? Gosh, why is my back so sore? Like I've been deadlifting.
well,
It seems like maybe they could do something. Trim it back a little bit. That guy caught a pretty big fish here. Just weighing it. Not bad.
wow.
She doesn't seem to be all that. She's aware of them, obviously. What are those things, Rose? Come on. You're gonna go meet the ducks. This is the ducks of the duck pond. This is their pond. Come on.
She's scared.
For me, I think the biggest issue with the audio, aside from the fact that it does sound pretty compressed and fairly distorted at times, is that a lot of the time, when I'm wearing it here, I'm super duper audible, but people that are even just a couple of feet away from me are really, really difficult to hear, and that is a bit of a bummer. It'd be cool to be able to walk around and just film and, talk to my wife, whoever, and all of that stuff get easily picked up, but that's not really going to work all that well. Perhaps the mount that it was in was contributing to that, but if that's the case, that wouldn't be a very good amount. I'm assuming that they've thought of these sorts of things and that shouldn't be causing it. At any rate, you can see and hear it all for yourself. I do think for the right price, though, mount this thing to your bike, put it in your koi pond. There's some really cool things you can do with this thing, and for the price, I keep saying this, but it's true, for the price that it is right now, $159 minus another $20, I think there's a lot of fun to potentially be had with this thing. And then, of course, I didn't really talk about this much at all, but this additional little mount to be able to hold it easier, to film the world in front of you and extend that battery life. And just so you know, the screen that's on there, it shows you the exact same thing as this screen. It just sort of flips it to the other screen. So there's really not much to go over there. It's just more battery, something to hold on to, easier to film the world in front of you instead of having a screen and camera pointing towards you. Just reverses things around. So it's a really, really cool accessory potentially to use, in particular if you want to go handheld like that. I think you could definitely do worse than what you're getting here for that price. Guys, big shout out to SJCAM for sending this action cam over for me to review. As always, no money has changed hands for the production of this review, and they are seeing the review at the exact same time as you are. I will drop an affiliate link in the description down below to Amazon. If you click that link and then purchase something, it will help support the channel through commission I earn from that purchase. Guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.